Carl Jung, Swedish psychiatrist and founder of analytic psychology, once said that the meeting of two personalities is like the contract of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. Now, the goal of my speech is to make my audience understand not only the theory of the collective unconscious, but also why Jung felt it was so important. Now, C.G. Jung first stirred controversy when he departed from friend and mentor, the infamous Sigmund Freud, over irresolvable differences in what each held to be the fundamental core of neuroses and the very nature of the unconscious. Now, where Freud saw neuroses as a culmination of repressed sexual content, all of which ends up in the unconscious, Jung instead saw the unconscious as not only a fundamental happening, one which guides one towards individuation and self-actualization, but also as a sort of psychic fabric, one which connected all human beings. Firstly, let us familiarize ourselves with the basics of this theory. Let us begin with the definition. This definition comes from Jung and is taken right out of his book, Man and His Symbols. It says, the collective unconscious is defined as a part of the unconscious mind shared by a society, a people, or all of mankind that is a product of ancestral experience and contains such concepts as science, religion, and morality. Or as Carl Jung often would coin it, a reservoir of experiences of our species. Next, I'd like to use a visual aid. This is what is called the iceberg model of human consciousness. Now, I understand that this model may look a little complex, but we will only be examining the basics. If you desire so, you may always refer back to this model and even explore some of the additional concepts, terminology, and related theories. Let's look at the basic structure of this model. At the core, you should see a triangular shape divided by 3 horizontal lines. Now imagine this basic structure as being an iceberg. Just as the tip of an iceberg is what we see, the majority of the actual entire iceberg exists below the water. This is exactly the premise of this model. Only what we could think of as being the tip of the iceberg would be what we would call waking consciousness, and all that exists below in the conscious exists down in deeper levels of the unconscious. The second level we come to is the subconscious, an area most identified as being the place where we dream. Moving down, the third level we come to would be the unconscious. This would imply a place of total unconsciousness, like a sleepless dream. It is down deep in here that both Jung and Freud proposed that repressed content would reside. Both men would also go on to suggest that all that is unconscious is seeking its way to the surface, to become known and become conscious. It is in this space, this deep underbelly of the subconscious, that Carl Jung found what he believed were the essential unconscious psychological functions. His work suggested that within us all existed a secondary psyche or personality, one which was created and manifested throughout our species' collective mythology, that is to say, our collectively agreed perception of reality. Therefore, it is suggested that the secondary personality within the collective unconscious serves as an evolutionary byproduct of our species. Collective unraveling of consciousness told through the medium of art, theater, literature, and now primarily film. As I previously stated, Jung was not entirely met by open-minded individuals. Nonetheless, Jung pressed on with his work in the area of the study of the collective unconscious. Now let us examine why Jung felt this process was essential and also different from Freud's model. Now, as we looked at earlier, we spoke of the subconscious content rising in consciousness. Now, Freud saw the rising of consciousness as being mostly meaningless. It was nothing more than the unraveling of neuroses caused mostly from repressed sexual content at best. Now, Jung viewed the rising of subconscious as an innate and essential process of our growth, leading us towards self-individuation and self-actualization. Now, for Jung, the narrative of our subconscious spoke through the mythology, our personal myth. Now, you may think better of this as Shakespeare's quote of all the world is but a stage and we are all but actors. This is very close to how Jung felt and saw the world. Not only do we have a subjective myth or story, but we also have a collective mythology. And again, within this collective mythology is our species' innate drive to reach a higher end. Or so Carl Jung believed. In conclusion, I hope you have a basic understanding of the collective unconsciousness, and also you see how Carl Jung felt it applied to us. Thank you.